Social media, what's good? It's so good to see you today. I hope that everyone is having an incredible day. I'm here to welcome you to another week in our Go series. And today we're going to be discussing the topic Go Encourage Yourself. Now, the reason why I wanted to talk about Go Encourage Yourself is because oftentimes when we are trying to reach a goal, when we have, something that we are wanting to complete, a milestone or, something significant, or even if we just have a small goal, we often tell our friends, we tell people around us, those that are in covenant with us, because we really want to be supported. We want to be prayed for. We want those good vibes and that good energy to come to us. But today, I was reading in First Samuel, and this is what really was like, man, I really need to talk about this. First Samuel, the 30th chapter, where David was actually had came to Ziklag, and the Amalekites had taken all of his stuff, his not only his stuff, not only his people, but also the people who were in covenant with him, those who were in his military, and they took their stuff. And the verse that I specifically just really was so encouraged by was verse 6, where it states that, moreover, David was greatly distressed because the people spoke of stoning him. For all the things, for all the people were embittered, and each one because of his sons and his daughters. But David encouraged himself in the Lord. Now, I want to read that again. Moreover, David was greatly distressed because the people spoke of stoning him, for all the people were embittered, each one because of his sons and his daughters. But David encouraged himself in the Lord. Now, the reason why this is important is because there are going to be moments where you're going to make decisions. You're going to make, moves that people who have been kind of riding with you, they have been kind of going with you, and they may not agree with maybe your strategy, or maybe you guys took a wrong turn and you understand that this had to happen, but the people around you are not feeling your decision. And so at that moment, you can't rely on their encouragement, because you have to lead in those moments, you have to lead in those times. And so this is important because we as people often we want people to give us the encouragement that we have to just give to ourselves. And so when it comes to your dreams, when it comes to the goals that you're trying to reach for yourself, when it comes to you having some decisions, some tough decisions that you're having to make for yourself, it is so important that you not make those decisions based on how many people are going to like them, or if it's going to be popular for everyone. But it's important to make those decisions and then encourage yourself in that process, because it's not always going to be the popular decision. Now, when it comes to 2019, many of us may have already experienced discouragement. Many of us have come against, obstacles and barriers, and just things that are kind of prohibiting our progress, or things that are standing in the way, even if it may be our own proclivities, the things that we can't let go of. And those things are designed to knock us off course. And if we don't have a strong sense of encouragement, if we don't have a strong sense of saying, regardless of how tough this may be, regardless of these results that I've received, I have to encourage myself in the Lord. If we don't have that strong basis and foundation, then yes, when the winds of change blow, it will carry us to and fro. But the Bible even talks about, a double-minded man being unstable in all his ways. Now that I'm tying that in because in a lot of ways, we will allow what our circumstances present to us. We allow those things to determine whether or not we're going to keep going, we're going to keep moving. But I love how this verse says David, in one version says strengthen himself in the Lord. Now this is important because David could not have strengthened himself if the relationship was not already established. So when we start saying stuff like, yeah, if God be for me, who can be against me? Yes, but you got to establish a relationship with God so that when you are up against a battle, when you are in a position where you are discouraged or you're trying to make something happen, that you have a source of strength in the minute or in the moment where you feel like you can't do it on your own. So I want to encourage you to not just encourage yourself, but encourage yourself in the Lord. Because when you have a relationship, God is, first of all, he's aware of all things because he's omniscient. He's omnipresent. He's everywhere. He's all seeing. He's sovereign. So he knows what we're dealing with. He knows what we're going through. But it's those moments where we try to do things on our own that we lose sight and we lose focus of God. And God is saying that if you want to be encouraged by me, if you want to be strengthened by me, you have to build relationship with me. You can't just come to me when everything is a mess, or everything has kind of gone to hell because you haven't considered me all along. And so God is saying that in this year, you cannot lean to other people to encourage you when you have a goal to meet, when you have a word to preach, when you have something that's been placed on your heart to share. God is saying that this is the time, this is the season to go forth, to go in those things and to encourage yourself. Now, there are 3 reasons that, as I was studying this, just 3 simple reasons why it's important to encourage yourself, and why encouraging yourself is absolutely #goals. Because many of us, if we're being honest, we don't encourage ourselves as much as we should, but we look for other people to do it. And so that kind of leads me to the first reason why we should be encouraging ourselves. And that is because, truthfully, people will not always be there to encourage you. And if we look at the situation with David's people were upset with him. So these same people that, you've been leading, they're now upset with you to the point where they're okay stoning you. They're talking of stoning you because they've lost all this stuff. They've lost these things. And so he couldn't look to anybody in that moment. He had to encourage himself in the Lord. He had to remind himself of the promises that God said to him. And so the first reason is people will not always be there to cheer you on. And even if you're leading a people and you have, just a separate set of people that are always going to be there, they may not be there in those moments where it gets tough, where it gets thick, where it gets to be difficult for you to master or to overcome. So having a personal love for God and a personal relationship allows you to understand the moments where you have to kind of not look to people, and moments where you have to literally draw in and say, I have to keep going in the things that I know internally that I'm supposed to be doing. So the first one is people will not always be there. Number 2, as leaders, and I'm speaking not just to leaders in the church. I believe that leaders in general, and whether you are leading in music, whether you are leading in in your whatever industry you may be leading in, a lot of times we're battled with, we're challenged with it being thankless. So just as David in this text, he's been trustworthy this entire time, but because the people that trusted him were now suffering, they weren't thanking him for everything else that he had saw them through. All they could think about was, man, listen, my family is gone. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, our city is burned to the ground. Like, what? This has been our temporary base for now, and we don't have a place to go. So we looking at you like, what are you gonna do? So David had to realize that this is thankless. So I have to encourage myself, because all the people that I've been doing for and leading and guiding, they're not here to thank me. They're not thanking me right now. Okay. And so you may feel like even on your job or in your career or in your business that you're putting out so much energy and so much effort, and you're expending here and you're exerting there, and you're not getting thanks. Well, that's the nature of leading, is understanding that it's not always going to be a thankless opportunity, a thankless situation. And so having that awareness that people are not going to always thank you will keep you in a position of not getting drunk or inebriated off of thanks, off of people's thanks, but more so looking at, getting God to get the glory, or having God to appreciate you, because people, and they won't always be there. And so like I said, number one, people will not always be there. Number one. Number two, leadership is often thankless. And then number three, encouraging yourself, whether you understand this or not, it promotes a greater sense of self-awareness and self-love. So why am I saying that? Because a lot of times when we can look at ourselves and say, I'm having a bad day and nobody's answering their phone. So how can I help myself in this position versus, looking for someone externally to do what should be happening within me? And so what God is trying to get us to understand is that when you can encourage yourself, you are becoming more aware of the good that you present, that you possess. Okay. And then it gives you a sense of self gratitude, of being able to say you did a good job here. Just keep going, the race, just keep taking the steps. And so with what I am saying, when you are able to promote your own self, when you're able to thank yourself and give yourself a pat on the back, when you're able to do those things, you show that you are aware that you have accomplished something. You are aware that you have completed a milestone. And so when you're in trouble, those are also moments to be aware of, listen, I'm in a position, I don't know what I need to do, but I know that I am doing the very best that I can. And it's about encouraging yourself to say, hey, don't give up. Sometimes you have to speak to yourself, you have to encourage yourself, just as David, because David needed strategy. He needed strategy in that moment. But at first, it was able to be downloaded. God was able to download what he needed to do when he first encouraged himself in the Lord. So I want to encourage you today to not look for people to do the work that you need to be doing in yourself, to not look for those who have supported you to always be there, because not saying that they're going to leave, but they may not be available. They may not be able to help you get through the hurdles and the areas in which you're trying to improve your life. So I'm so excited about this topic, because when it comes to encouragement, we have to begin to encourage our own self, so that when we accomplish, we can win a battle and take a bite. Like, it's okay to take a bite of victory when you have done the work. So today I just want to encourage you to go encourage yourself. Okay. Listen, this is all I have for today. Like, share, comment, let me know how this has blessed you. You can, definitely respond in the comment section. You can absolutely send a message. I'm going to have this on Instagram. I'm going to post this on Facebook. It's definitely going to be on YouTube as well. I'm so excited about God and what he's doing in 2019 for my life as well as yours. So my charge today is for you to go encourage yourself. I love you. I thank you. And go encourage you. I'm out. Peace.